Honkai Star Rail is a game with no shortage of intricacies and mysteries. What happened in the Trailblazers' past? What is Luocha transporting in the coffin? Where is Adrilla? Who at Hoyo did I piss off that made it so I lose every single 50-50 since patch 2.5? Of course, the newest Trailblaze destination, Amphoreus, features lore packed with riddles, sautéed in foreshadowing, seasoned with a blend of ambiguity and mystique, and garnished with whatever's going on with this Redra Hycelin subplot. But among all these enigmas, Amphoreus introduced us to the singular most important question that us Star Rail fans must endeavor to unravel. Could Lebron James defeat the Chrysos Heirs in a 48-minute game of basketball? We're giving away 3 Star Rail monthly passes to the community. Subscribers who comment on this video and at least one other on the channel will have a chance to win. And I'll be reaching out to the winners in the second week of October to deliver the passes to your account. Best of luck in the giveaway, and thank you to our sponsor for making this possible, U7Buy. If you're looking for a safe, cheap, and trusted digital marketplace for all things Honkai Star Rail, be sure to check out U7Buy. U7Buy offers the best prices for Oneric shards at rates 10 to 15% lower than other platforms. Here's how easy it is to use. Simply enter your UID and your order will be processed instantly. And when you're checking out, simply enter my discount code TOMMY to save an extra 3% on already low prices. Be sure to use the link in the pinned comment and description. Join millions of other satisfied customers worldwide and check out the 30,000 plus positive reviews on Trustpilot. Thank you again to U7Buy, your gateway to the best gaming deals, for sponsoring the video. The Chrysos Heirs are a group of individuals imbued with great power that rose up after the Titans of Amphoreus fell, fused with golden ichor. Some of these individuals, according to the prophecy of Genesis from the world-bearing Titan Kephili, are tasked with seizing the core flames from the Titans and upholding the world, also called as a flame chase. However, each Chrysos Heir is also inextricably linked to a prophecy that foretells their certain doom, an indelible promise to bring about the present, with the future becoming an ephemeral dream, out of reach for all those who would partake in the fabled flame chase. A Chrysos Heir that conquers a core flames trial will inherit its respective Titan's divinity and become a demigod. However, only a chosen few possess the capacity to assume divinity. While not quite reaching Emanator levels, to say the Chrysos Heirs are powerful might be the understatement of the entire cycle. The abilities of the Flame Chasers range from lightning speed to planetary destructive power and just about everything in between. Of course, there is one quite glaring outlier in Phainon, which we'll get to later, but the rest of them each have their own strengths and weaknesses befitting of their very nature. As a core group, there are few adversaries that they couldn't defeat. Except for maybe one. Born in Akron, Ohio, Lebron James was no stranger to facing adversity growing up. With immense poverty and systemic violence serving as just a few of his many foes, the future king of the NBA would gain strength both on and off the court from overcoming the hurdles that life brought his way. James would quickly prove himself as a once-in-a-generation talent in the sport of basketball, and would declare for the NBA draft at just 18 years old, being selected first overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Despite having monumental expectations placed upon him, the young LeBron would live up to them and then some, earning the Rookie of the Year title and single-handedly making the previous terrible Cavaliers a top contending team. Much like how Phainon painstakingly collected all core flames on his mission to save Amphoreus, LeBron would gradually transform himself into the ultimate hooper, developing a game as versatile as it was deadly. Stronger than the fastest and faster than the strongest, there was no area on the court that LeBron didn't dominate. And even at 40 years old, King James still sits at the top of the game, making the All-NBA team in his 22nd year in the league. With 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs, 21 All-Star team selections, and having the title of most points scored in basketball history, if he ever does retire, it'll be as the clear greatest player of all time. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just an Enigmata follower. But the burning question for all Star Rail players remains. How would LeBron match up against the Chrysos Heirs of Amphoreus? Obviously, this matchup is a bit of a tough call. Sure, the Chrysos Heirs are able to open dimensional portals, move faster than light, unlock the secrets of the universe, and destroy entire planets. But LeBron James is really good at basketball. Phainon was shown to have multi-galaxy level strength, but just because you're strong doesn't mean you'd be able to lock down the all-time scoring champion. And not even demigods have an answer to Braun's signature look down hezzy pull-up. Yes, Maide has the gift of immortality, allowing him to fight until the end of time, but LeBron, even in his 22nd year in the NBA, is still dropping 40 bombs in the playoffs. That man clearly was thrown into the same river at some point. While Tribby can fly, traverse dimensions, and rewind time itself, LeBron can really hit those threes. And let's not forget about Braun's feats in multiverses, where he's able to go one-on-one against the likes of Superman and Wonder Woman, putting him at least galaxy-level strength. When you take that and combine it with his feats in Space Jam: A New Legacy, you now have to add toon scaling to his potency. So when he landed falling from orbit and got up unscathed, that's just one example of his insurmountable durability. So you might think it's over for the heroes of Amphoreus, but it might not be so clear-cut. Since Phainon went through 33,550,336 cycles, statistically at least a few of them had to involve a rigorous one-on-one hooping competition for the core flames, so we can expect them to have developed at least all NBA level skills. If we're looking at both of them at peak strength, so Phainon with all core flames plus the Aeon Nanook's Blessing and 2018 Cavaliers LeBron, they seem to be evenly matched. Phainon had to bear the entire planet, while LeBron had to bear dragging this sorry roster to the finals. It's a tough call, really. While LeBron may have physical strength on his side, at least compared to the measly, all-powerful demigods he's going up against, speed is one area that he may fall short. In a recent poll I ran on this channel, I put Phainon, Anaxa, LeBron, and Cipher in head-to-head voting, and the Trickster definitely came out on top. Cipher is by far the quickest of the Chrysos Heirs, moving at an impossibly high speed. With the coin of whimsy, she moves so fast she is quite literally impossible to perceive, let alone catch. Her nimbleness would also complement her ball handling ability, with tricky footwork and elite handles, so a good comp would probably be Steph Curry, an unrivaled shooter with a deep bag who's able to easily slip past slower defenders. And while LeBron has been able to absolutely shut down guards like Curry throughout his career, Cipher's raw speed would make her nearly impossible to guard and able to pick Bron's pocket with the right read. I'm giving this one to the Neko. Whoa. Hold on a second here. As Legoat powerfully put it, this isn't Jordan versus Bird on Nintendo. One-on-ones aren't real basketball. It's a team sport, which is what you build your game around. Exploiting the enemy team's weaknesses while utilizing proper team strategy is what hooping is all about. So let's not get bogged down with who could be who one-on-one. Let's actually make some teams. In basketball, there are 5 positions on the court: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. We'll be assembling one team composed of Amphoreus' Chrysos Heirs and another team consisting of the best teammates that LeBron has shared the court with throughout his illustrious career, including All-Star and Olympic teams. Each player will be at their peak strength with all power-ups activated and playing with a standard NBA rule set. The point guard position, also known as the one, is typically the team's shortest player and best ball handler and passer. Usually quicker, they are good at driving and short-range shots, often able to create shots for themselves and their teammates. Good point guards increase team efficiency and generally have a high number of assists, often referred to as dribblers and playmakers. For Team Amphoreus, I think in terms of being a general on the floor, Ceridra would be the best pick. The team needs a strong leader, someone with impeccable floor vision and strategy, who can make the tough calls, which Ceridra is best suited for. Our Imperator would be drawing up advanced plays for the team, dishing dimes left and right while commanding respect from the defense. Is she just a Phainon merchant? Well, maybe, but here that just might be the winning move. To match this, Team LeBron will be starting Steph and Curry, who has shared the court with Bron multiple times in All-Star games and in the Olympics. Steph really needs no introduction, or well, I guess reintroduction, but he's the greatest shooter of all time, who is a massive offensive threat both on ball and off ball. Whenever LeBron has teamed up with Curry in the past, it's been night-night for the enemy team, so this was really a no-brainer. The shooting guard, also known as the 2 or the off guard, are generally prolific from the 3-point range and long to mid-range. Before they can get the ball to make the shot, they must work to stay free while others pass the ball around. Their ability to correctly space the floor and find open space for themselves is a key aspect of this position. With Ceridra at the 1, Amphoreus' starting 2 was clear as day. It'll be Cipher. Perhaps the most potent offensive force on the team, Cipher's speed should be able to overwhelm even the most skilled defenders in the game, being able to drive to the basket with indomitable swiftness and shoot the long ball when needed. My pick for LeBron shooting guard is Dwayne Wade. The 3-time NBA champion and former teammate of LeBron has had a remarkable career both as the number 1 and number 2 player on the Miami Heat. His unselfish attitude towards the game, paired with his unbelievable aptitude at attacking the rim, makes him the best pick, especially given the ball-hungry nature of the team as a whole. The small forward, also known as the 3, is considered to be the most versatile of the main 5 basketball positions. Versatility is the key for small forwards due to the nature of their role, often called the Swiss Army knife, because they could do just about everything. From scoring to rebounding, handling the ball, passing, and the ability to defend. The almighty all-rounder for Team Amphoreus, Phainon is the natural pick. With all core flames and Nanook's Blessing, he'd be able to excel anywhere on the court, able to guard positions 1 through 5. Pair that with his millennia of experience going through cycles, Phainon would be nigh uncontestable. That would be, of course, if it weren't for the GOAT King James himself matching up against him. We talked about how they'd fare one-on-one earlier, so the outcome of this rivalry will likely rest entirely on how well they work with their supporting cast. The power forward, also known as the 4, is often the team's most powerful and dependable scorer, being able to score close to the basket while also being able to shoot mid-range jump shots. If you're looking for a good balance of size, strength, and speed, I think Aglaia is the best pick. The Gold Weaver of Okema has been shown to be able to operate with precision, and is the 3rd tallest member of the Chrysos Heirs. She also has somewhat of an ace in the hole, which we'll get to later. The power forward I'm pairing with Bron is the Brow himself, Anthony Davis. Despite his many missed games due to injury, LeBron and AD were able to win a championship together in 2020, with AD's defense and explosiveness being a huge deciding factor in that. If he's somehow able to play an entire 48 minutes without tearing, breaking, or detaching something, he'll make for an essential player on the roster. The center, also known as the 5, typically plays near the baseline or close to the basket, usually being the tallest, biggest players on the floor. They are typically skilled at jump balls, pulling down rebounds, contesting shots, and setting screens on players. The goal of centers is to create possessions, and therefore opportunities to score. There's only one real option you could even consider for this role, and it's Maide. The Crown Prince of Kremnos is an absolute unit in both size and strength, being able to defeat Prime Nikador. His immortality, allowing him to fight off entire armies on his lonesome for days on end, would also mean he'd be able to easily play through all 48 minutes, no sub required, unless Phainon really wanted some. But the name of the game is durability, and given that he was able to take blows from Flame Reaver, he'd have no problem boxing out forwards and easily drive to the basket. Physicality is his strong suit, even though he's imaginary for some inexplicable reason, both lore-wise and gameplay-wise. Facing off against Maide is none other than the Big Diesel himself, who played with LeBron on the Cavs in the 2009 to 2010 season, and stunk. But I think even with Phainon getting all core flames, Shaq still gets the biggest buff when brought back to his prime. The most dominant center of all time, Shaq was a 7-foot, 380-pound walking bucket on the Lakers. He was so unstoppable that teams had to resort to literally hacking him on repeat so that he'd have to lay bricks at the free throw line rather than trying to defend him in the paint. And despite his enormous size and strength, Shaq was absurdly fast while being an elite rim protector. So we have both teams on lock. Who'll be coming out on top, Team Amphoreus or Team LeBron? Well, suffice to say, there are plenty of things working for and against both teams. Let's start with the fundamentals. The Chrysos Heirs aren't exactly natural-born hoopers. Outside of maybe Phainon, they'd be severely lacking in overall basketball IQ. It'd be tough for them to cohesively adapt to LeBron's game, since much of what they'd be doing would essentially be learning on the fly. Don't get me wrong. For a team with a median age of 1,000 years, I'm sure they'd be swift learners, but that would mean essentially tanking in the first half to maybe be able to pull off a third and fourth quarter run. Size is probably the most glaring weakness for Team Amphoreus. At 6'3", Phainon is the tallest of the Chrysos Heirs, and that's only an inch taller than the shortest member of Team LeBron, Steph Curry. Maide isn't too far behind at around 6'1", but the third tallest is Agalaya at around only 5'6". With the shortest on the team, Saridra, sitting at a measly 4'5", it'll be a greater challenge than any trial they've faced just to be able to get shots up over the mountainous Team LeBron. Despite the size differences, in terms of raw physicality, it'll be Team Amphoreus decidingly coming out on top. While LeBron and Phainon may be a fairly even matchup, the same cannot be said for the rest of the cast. Maide being able to slay all-powerful gods doesn't fare all too well for Shaq, who would likely be barbecue chicken by the Kremnoan king. And while AD has been known for his lockdown defense, Agalaya being at galaxy strength spells disaster for him if they decide to play bully ball. And no, she wouldn't just be able to straight up eviscerate his very existence from this plane. That'd be a tech, but that probably means she'd be able to box him out in most situations and be nasty in the pick and roll. And let's not forget all the cheats that Team Amphoreus has access to. Agalaya through her golden threads would be able to overhear all of Team LeBron's strategies and any plays they draw up, so the Flame Chasers would be one step ahead of Team Bron unless they're able to figure out what's happening. Throw in Cipher's unmatched speed and they'd be an absolute menace on the fast break. With all that being said, how I'd imagine this would go is as follows. Team LeBron would start off with an absolutely dominating first quarter, easily overwhelming the defense of the Chrysos Heirs, with D-Wade getting to the line by baiting fouls from the inadequately prepared defenders. Shaq would also inevitably be fouled by Maide, and should they survive, also get plenty of free throw attempts. However, all the while LeBron, AD, and Curry would be able to take uncontested jumpers over their much shorter counterparts, essentially always having a mismatch on offense. Going into quarter 2, it'll be much of the same story, the only thing keeping the Flame Chasers in the game being Cipher's takeover on offense and the intel gained from Agalaya's threads. But still, as we've seen from LeBron's time with the Cavs, one player can't just do it alone, especially against a team as strong as LeBron's. Each member of the Dream Team would really be feeling themselves, rarely dishing out dimes, but instead stat padding against the team they wouldn't feel the need to take seriously whatsoever. It's only in the second half that Team Amphoreus would really start to hit their stride. Using their centuries of experience to be able to adapt on the fly, the Chrysos Heirs would be playing as a cohesive unit, setting each other up for easy scoring opportunities. Saridra starts drawing up plays which Team LeBron wouldn't be prepared for. Maide would set a screen for Agalaya, who drives to the basket, only to pass the rock out to Cipher, putting up a lob for the Dawnbringer Phainon to slam it down. It doesn't help that by now, AD is taken out of the game with another season-ending injury, so they're down a man. Like a reverse Space Jam 2, LeBron's advantage would quickly diminish, and the Flame Chasers would have a double-digit lead going into the fourth. Of course, my king wouldn't just go down without a fight, and clutch time is when LeBron truly reaches his peak. Like we've seen so many times at the Olympics, LeBron and Curry would absolutely take over, putting out an onslaught of threes and floaters that would bring the game neck and neck. Phainon, though, with all of Amphoreus on his shoulders, would respond in kind, utilizing his immense and versatile skill set to dominate in all areas of the court. So at the end of the day, who would win in the ultimate battle between LeBron James and the Chrysos Heirs of Amphoreus? Well, It's obvious. The one who comes out on top is... Oh, the new Wuthering Waves patch just dropped. Okay, gonna play that now. Catch you in the next one. Fuck Tectone.
Anyway, $4 a pound.